And because in the end, no one loves losing. Everybody loves winning, right? We hate losing.
Why should they trust you? Why should they trust the Birb Nest?
Trust is a good term, right? So first of all, it comes with time. It means that you can rely on them. It means that you know that whatever you expect from them is going to happen.
You're not building traders, you're building people?
Both, simply because my job as the Nest job is to put reliable, and that's a keyword, reliable and trustworthy materials that are of high quality that can be the base of their financial literacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Dominik. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at the Birb Nest. And today we're meeting with somebody amazing, Mr. Adrian Zduńczyk, the CEO, owner, and initiator of the Birb Nest itself, also called Crypto Birb. And what's more amazing, an absolute legend. Hey, Adrian.
Well, thanks for the kind introduction. Good to meet you, and congratulations on taking over the whole marketing gig, man. And at the Nest, it's quite a challenge.
Yes, it is, but it's also really amazing. I'm super happy to be here because we have lots of amazing stuff to do and to present and to announce. But man, we can't spoil everything today. So we have a lot of amazing things to announce and show, and a lot of great plans regarding TBN itself. So stay tuned, everybody. But today, we're just here to have a chat and talk about crypto, about you, Adrian, and about the TBN itself. Adrian, who are you? Could you tell somebody, the people who don't know you yet, who are you? A few words. Who is Adrian Zduńczyk?
Oh, wow. Okay. 32. I'm bald. I have gray hair. The only one that remains on my face is the beard. And this is what kind of like, has become a trademark and then a brand mark on its own. I would say I'm a normal guy. It's a cliche maybe a little bit, although I really am. I don't think I'm anybody extremely like talented, overly talented. I think I'm pretty normal, maybe slightly. The experience has I think allowed me for scaling and doubling down and diving deeper into crypto, into finance, into all those kind of like different branches that had ultimately put me into a position where I am these days, right? But this combination of persistence and discipline always outperforms any sort of like a talent. So I think the discipline and the resilience is something that I try to embrace and I try to embody, and this is what ultimately has been my key scores element that I think has put me here into this very chair. Well, professionally, I'm a trader, right, for the past 8-9 years. This is 9 year actually rolling, in form of my crypto journey full time. Before that, I had started a couple of startups, and kind of like had an e-commerce business that went unprofitable, mainly because of currency fluctuations that ultimately put me into trying to digest, okay, why the dollar / Polish currency / euro, all of a sudden the ratios started changing to an extent that it was not profitable anymore. So I started digesting this whole currency gameplay that in the end, like I said, has put me for a couple of startups based on subscription models. We even went to Switzerland one day with my co-partner, co-founder, friend, back in the day. And ultimately, I had heard about crypto before. My grandfather used to use Bitcoin for football betting. He was a degenerate gambler, for poker plays, for the Texas Hold'em, for horse betting, for football betting, and on top of everything, he was a very, very smart computer builder guy. Some
grandfather,
from the Polytechnic, basically same university that I graduated from. So in the end, I had a lot of IT friends that have ever told me about crypto pretty often, 2013, 14, except that I was a walking zombie in my studies because chemical engineering degree has paved, I think, a lot of challenge for me to pass through. And all those side gigs, those side kind of like businesses, those side startups, and that I was doing in e-commerce and the subscriptions, ultimately, was all halted the moment I sat down and I graduated from my studies, and I said, okay, I have 2 or 3 months, of a window between the second studies that I did on the Masters of Economics, and actually that was the School of Economics, Management, and Finance, right? So in the finance, and this 2-month window basically sat me down, for a full-time crypto gig, and that's how I stick by. That's accidentally, what's turned into quite a reputable place.
So tell me, because your life story sounds really really interesting and diverse. With that said, but when was the exact moment that was your first connection with crypto? Did was a colleague who told you during having a beer or a coffee that there's something like crypto, or how did you even get started to know what crypto is and how it works, and then something to become later your way of life and business?
Yeah, so like I said, I had heard about it before. All right, I had a couple of those kind of like different sources, telling me about it, except that I didn't have time and the mindset, at that time to sit down and just, digest everything that was about crypto. So it was just a kind of like a remote topic that was flying, and it was once in a while, it was buzzy term that everybody talked about, but it wasn't common. It was still kind of like a big niche, and actually a small niche, that a lot of people were talking about, but it was very isolated. And my full-time crypto journey started in the end of March 2000, end of March, I think, or early April 2017, like full-time basis. So I kind of like started properly deploying my own capital, investing, getting those first, 10x's on my accounts, then to an extent to blow up the whole thing, and to make it back again, and to blow up it.
It was like a road, full of bumps, or it was success from the start? Because you started with your own money, right?
Yeah. I've always had my own money. Like I said, I had those couple of gigs, that ultimately, put me on a good, money position. I wasn't well off. I don't come from any well off family, so every single thing, was kind of like self-made. And to a large extent, joining crypto at the right time, or actually in the final stage of the cycle, basically when you see all the money keeps going up, can make you feel like you're a genius, even though you are new, right? So that is the first timer's luck experience, that someone joins and they do nothing and they say, okay, my money is going and it seems I'm good at it, so I'll be deploying more capital, and the money keeps going and you deploy more capital, and at the end of the day, the market, falls back. It actually has this inflection point that, over which, all the bird kind of like corrections, start to take over, and then on the top, you're the most invested. So the typical errors, like, over investing, over trading, is exactly what I also had experience on crypto, simply because it's way more volatile, way faster, and the cyclicality of those crypto are whatever happens on the S&P 500, for instance, in 10 years can happen in crypto in 1 year, right? Whatever happens in 1 year in S&P happens in a month in crypto. So you have this accelerated course of investing.
You need to be fast. You need to react fast, and
yeah, pretty much.
Don't sleep too much.
No, that was no sleep time.
Okay, Adrian, I want to go through more details, some difficult questions a bit later.
Go.
But first of all, I would like to know more about the Birb Nest initiative. But even before we get to the Birb Nest and you telling us what it is, how it came to life, and what was the idea of it coming to life, I would like to know more about your nickname at social media. So why Crypto Birb? What was the story behind it? Because when I heard your nickname the first time, I was super curious. What was the deal with that?
Man, so Birb, B-I-R-B, right?
Yeah.
This is a
Birb, not bird. So the first thing I heard was, bird. Yeah, sure. Never right. Birb. I can't find it. I was like, no, it's Birb with a B.
So there's a twist. It doesn't make it easier for people to recognize still. If you go and Google BIRB, Birb, what a Birb is basically, by the definition, is a funny meme version of a parrot doing some silly stuff, right? So parrots,
you're
I
a parrot guy.
I'm free parrots. Yeah, I have free
parrots.
I have free parrots, cockatiels this big. They have a long tail, beautiful wings. When they spread out the wings, they are this wide. So they are medium-sized, parakeets.
Maybe we can ask the video editor to show pictures.
So yeah, Pistachio and the rest of the crew. Yeah,
one of them is Pistachio.
Yeah, one of them is Pistachio. Yeah. So in the end of the day, I had those interests in memes, right? As in, memes. The meme culture, I think, it has its own golden time ever since, I don't know, 2010 onwards. Yeah. Right? All those memes, started going viral and crazy, and the meme has
like memes with cats, but it's with parrots.
Pretty much, right? So the parrots are extremely witty, intelligent. They can recite poems. You can run dialogue with them. If you go to sleep, I have an Alexa, this AI device. They can basically, of knowing the human speech and imitating and mimicking that. They can Uh, they can order like some, food for you while you're sleeping without you even knowing. So you wake up and there's a pile of food waiting in front of your door that you didn't order.
And the parrot did it through Alexa.
Alexa did it, right? For Alexa. So shit like that happens. And those are Burbs. Those birds doing those crazy things are Burbs. And anything crypto related, back in the day when I was searching for my own brand, I had that Polish brand that wasn't successful at that time, simply because it was Polish, and there were not many Polish people in the crypto city, if in the crypto town. And there was this vibe, this narrative that every crypto person, had their own animal alias, basically. So it's crypto dogs, crypto chickens, crypto alligators, crypto whatever.
Yeah.
Crypto cats, but no crypto burbs, right? So that was the match. That's how I kind of like, inserted the meme culture, the parrots, that I love, and the crypto combination of that.
Okay, that sounds really interesting. So guys, basically, you want to think of being successful in crypto, should get some parrots and watch some burbs,
Yeah,
on the internet. Okay, so we're actually here on the behalf of the Birb Nest. So actually, the project, we are both involved now, and you've created it. You are the inventor. You thought about the initiative, planned it. Tell me how it came to life. What is the Birb Nest actually for people who don't know it yet, don't know yet about you, but they came here to find out who is Adrian and why he's the ultimate legend in the crypto world. But what is the Birb Nest? As simple as you can, and why it came to life.
I appreciate it, man. So it's a hub. I mean, it's a very broad term, right? It's a very flexible term, but in the end of the day, it's a place. It's a virtual place and a physical place for a lot of people to come together in the mission of trying to get closer to financial literacy, to financial freedom, right? As the Birb Nest, it has its own 2 chapters. One chapter is a B2C chapter, is a client, customer, person, individuals-oriented chapter that basically spreads this accredited financial literacy, because I'm the only CMT in Poland. CMT is a charter market technician association that gives the credentials. There's only like 3,000 people in the world, and I'm the only one in my country. I'm the only one in Poland, and it sucks. And it sucks because there should be hundreds of people doing that.
It doesn't suck for you and the people around you.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter, right? All I mean is that
how important it is, the CMT title. Before we get back to the Birb Nest,
yeah.
Why is it so important to have this title?
Yeah, so
what it gives you.
Oh man, it gives you everything. I mean, it was this snap of a finger, basically, that it was this moment, the turning point in my trading career, after which, I started asking more questions, driving me to understand the markets much more, right? So in the end, as I made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, made more money, lost more money, I started digesting and kind of like delving into the patterns, right? Because there was some repetition, there was like cyclicality, and there was a time when everybody was making money, there was a time when everybody was losing money, and trying to understand the mechanisms, behind the whole thing is actually what made me, start journaling my trades, building like I said, my trading kind of like openly, wins and losses, and there was some repetition, there was some quote unquote magic, there was something of a secret to it that I didn't know why it worked, but it worked. And the answer to that came with the quantitative evidence-based technical analysis, right?
That's a very hard sentence.
Well, quantitative, which means you can quantify this, which means, you use the quantitative methods, based on mathematics, basically, right? Algebra and so on, algebra. So that's one thing. You can quantify it, right? Assign qualities is another thing. But the quantitative technical analysis is an art of reading charts in the attempting to
the legendary charts.
Yeah, attempting to make money off of it, simply because, the charts with the prices discount the human behavior and possibly all available information about the market.
So is it like from the Matrix, you see the numbers and you see what they mean and you understand them?
Sort of. That's the goal, right? But at the end of the day, the chart of Bitcoin against USD, it discounts all the information that the doctors think about Bitcoin, that the politicians think about Bitcoin, that the business people think about Bitcoin, that the corporate people think about Bitcoin, that traders, investors, and so on. And in the end, it mimics and reflects human behavior and the amplitude, of how it changes. It tells you how much emotion there is in the market often. And you can quantify this. You can build strategies. You can make money off of it. And you can forecast to some extent the future, which is why I'm doing the whole thing. And this CMT, the Charter Market Technician Association, gave me the foundation and the credential as the only person in the country, basically, to be able to use those quantitative methods to build technical systems based on price action, volume, breadth, momentum, and so on.
Okay, so getting back to the Birb Nest. So it evolves around you and basically on your expertise, your time spent in the business. But what does it mean for a day-to-day user, especially someone not yet involved in crypto, but want to begin their journey? They know crypto as a mystical force of something being somewhere and you can make money off of it, lots of money, and lose a lot of money.
Sure.
And from a perspective of a person who wants to start but being afraid, what does it mean for them to join the Birb Nest? What advantages does it give to them? Why it would be important?
Yeah, so the nest, right? The nest is what it is to the birds, is a safety shelter, is a place where they can come, feel safe, feel incubated, taken care of, basically by the good people, who are around. And this is, our team and the community on its own that help them grow in their own financial literacy, right? So this is a nest, this is a hub, this is a place for them that they can come, and after visiting which, they kind of like become better traders, better people, better decision makers, because in the end of the day, it's universal, right?
Also better self-aware of their decision.
Exactly, the self-awareness, right? So you asked me what CMT gave me, it's the self-awareness, right? Learning, how I react to emotions, learning how and why I reacted to certain things, about the markets. Because, two people looking at the same chart, they're going to see different things, right? One person is going to see the price go up, another person is going to see the price go down, and the 55th person in the line is going to tell you that it's going to go flat or it's going to go whatever. And that's the same chart. So it's not the chart that changes, it's the mindset and that bends, right? And that mindset is based on emotions, and learning how to tame those emotions, how to you make them, utilize them in your own advantage, and how those emotions impact the trends that can propagate, grow faster, stronger, and then more volatile. You can make money off of it. So this knowledge, when presented in form of reports, of market screeners, that are going to save a lot of time, that are going to tell you simply discount 50 different indicators and tell you, okay, this is bullish, bearish, but buy, sell, doesn't matter.
We'll get back to bullish and bearish in a second. But what I'm interested, so you're not building traders, you're building people, you're building character. Because is that something we could express in a way?
Both, simply because my job as the Nest job is to put reliable, and that's a keyword, reliable and trustworthy materials, because there's so much misinformation in crypto, reliable CMT stamped and backed materials that are of high quality, that can be the base of their financial literacy. So they can learn, basically make those decisions better. Again, information-based, instead of trying to guess, right? So we're giving them data, we're giving them indicators, software, screeners, tools, charts, reports, write-ups, bulletins, everything, basically, to help them make better choices, better decisions based on data, information, not their guesses, not what some random scammy people are going to tell you on the internet. Oh, this shit is going to go 10x tomorrow, or this thing is a Ponzi, it's going to dive, 90% and the next day it goes 10x, for instance, right? So putting all this information in a reliable, beginner-friendly package.
Beginner-friendly, that's key.
Beginner-friendly package that is easy to digest, easy to understand for everybody who's just getting started, in one place, surrounded by the people, the professionals, that a team of the Birb Nest, who have skin in the game, who are reliable, trustworthy, the best people in the business that I've met in my life, in the career, to help them support and help incubate their process around it. And each and every single person gets this beginner-friendly, like I said, piece of information that they can use in their own advantage.
For me, it was pretty amazing when I first joined the community and starting, looking into it, what it actually is from the inside. I saw those amazing group of people, both trading, both Birb Nest team members and people who are already there, talking about some trends, talking about what could happen, what would they do, exchanging suggestions. And it made a huge impact on me, saying these are actually people passionate about who are joining here to learn, but also to share their experience, to share their knowledge and help each other during the process. So I was actually pretty surprised about how important the community aspect is and how open-minded and friendly it is to newcomers. Because from what I saw, and the Birb Nest has, of course, professional traders who want to get even more pro and up their game, and those beginners who are just looking to start their adventure, and they're not being scared off. They're not being, judged by not knowing. The opposite, they're being welcomed, and people offer their advice, help, and I think that's the really amazing part, that you build such a open-minded and open community, a place to join for everyone, not excluding anybody depending on their talents, knowledge, and experience.
Correct. And above everything, I've been through the same journey, right? To an extent that I had enough of discipline in existence, I've made a lot of expensive mistakes on the way, right? And I didn't have to blow up multiple accounts. I didn't have to, waste millions of dollars basically on lost investments and getting hacked and scammed by my friends, and stuff like this. I didn't have to do it, right? But I did simply because I didn't have the reliable guidance from someone to show me, do this, do not do this, right? Avoid this, do not avoid.
Your mistakes are the Birb Nest community lessons to be learned.
That's it. So I try to take my weakness and put it into and make an actual, strength out of this for the other people to serve and to learn basically on my mistakes instead of on their own. And because in the end, no one loves, losing. Everybody loves winning, right? We hate losing. We hate getting scammed, by all those scammy influencers, that are just trying to push you down your throat, basically all their undisclosed shills and the dirty marketing, gigs that they're getting paid in tokens. And then, the moment they say, oh, go buy this token, the next minute they dump the whole thing and just the market crash, right? Leaving all those people broke and destroyed, and damaged. So that's 90% of this industry. Like those are bad people, bad actors, simply because of lack of regulations back in the day. It was so easy for all those people to come and take advantage, just get a proper extraction of capital out of other people who are beginners and newcomers, to make those mistakes, right? To kind of like lure them into making those mistakes. And there are a lot of bad people taking advantage of the people who are new, who don't know. And that regards both the B2C, as in the regular traders who are just getting started. It also involves projects. That is the second chapter.
So Nest is also a safe hub.
It is a safety hub
for the people too.
It is a safety. It is a safe haven. It is a safe place for institutions as well, right? For projects, for companies, for an investment kind of like oriented again hedge funds. We help them as well make those better choices, simply because, like I said, by getting success in the Web2 world and the traditional world, right?
Yeah.
Having a lot of money, a lot of track record, a lot of success, by getting good product is not enough in crypto. And they can have, dozens and dozens of successfully launched products on the B2 on the regular traditional Web2 kind of like an environment, but they can fail miserably on the launching those same products in the Web3 simply because it's community driven. You have to know the community, you have to know the tribe, you have to speak the language, you have to know that 90% of those people are gonna scam you, talk shit behind your back, get you money, basically run away from you, stab you in the back and talk shit, like I said, all the time, just ruin your reputation. And this is the reality. I've made those mistakes multiple times. I've trusted the wrong people. But since I've been long enough in a game, I know who not to trust, and that's 95% of the people. But I also know who to trust, the people who are reliable, trustworthy, hardworking, licensed, regulated. Those are the people that we keep close, right? And those are the people that are this network, those resources are attractive to the projects, to founders.
I have to ask you one thing, because you are telling a lot of important information, especially about trusting the right people, about avoiding scams and being very careful. For the people, again, who don't know you yet, don't know us as the Birb Nest, why should they trust you? Why should they trust the Birb Nest? Why are you different?
Oh man, trust is a good term, right? So first of all, it comes with time. It comes with time. To trust someone, it means that you can rely on them. It means that you know that whatever you expect from them is gonna happen. Basically, the reliability. This is what it means, that you expect A to happen, and the A is executed on the other party, right? So if you go and put your money in a bank account, you trust them that they're not going to lose your money.
Yeah.
So that's exactly this, right? You assume that this is a safe place for them to store their money. So the safety and the lack of negative surprise comes with matching the expectations, right? So it means this trust is built, first of all, over time. It's built over repetition. It's built over discipline. It's built over reputation, because the more reputation you have, the more damage, the more cost you're going to acquire if you ruin this reputation. So the more reputation you have, imagine, I don't know, a president of United States, launching a token and all of a sudden, ruining the whole reputation, right? This can happen. But at the same time,
any specific example of a president launching his token?
Well, you don't know that yet, right? But what I mean is that it's very easy to destroy, to ruin this reputation. It's very difficult to build it back. So the combination of all those factors, having skin in the game, having proof record that is transparent. So this transparency, discipline, this time as an experience / time, skin in the game. So the track record, the name, the reputation, how licensed you are. If it's just
so again, your technical license, basically.
Well, the CMT this is a professional kind of like a license, right? This is a professional charter, but I'm talking
also very exclusive.
It's very exclusive. I mean, it should not be. Well, it is exclusive simply because there are not many people who are gonna follow this far. They're gonna go this far, right? This is why it's exclusive. It's always very lonely at the very top, right? Simply because there are not enough people to climb alongside you, having so much discipline. So in the end, this reliability comes with all those factors, right? And above everything, I think having been as the Birb Nest, having been surrounded myself, being surrounded by incredibly talented people just like yourself, with like I said, who are full of incredible creative ideas, who are having, like I said, skin in the game professionally, very, very good traders that is verified, they have public track record, that are transparent about the wins and losses, that are high ethics, high morality compass, high moral compass, that want to build much more than they want to see the world burn. Those people, this is the Birb Nest, right? Constructivism, this reliability, trustworthiness, reputation, and license, and above everything, Well, I'm blessed to be working with incredible people on the team and also around. So it's like I said, those minus 4 or 5% of the people that you want to know that are trustworthy.
The people as well. You are personally involved, which was also very, very positive from my perspective. You take part in the recruitment process, interviewing, screening. You want to know those people really, not just hire a number with a certain CV on hand, but no, is the guy or the girl that you're thinking about getting on board is actually the right fit, and you feel you can trust them. So that's also very important, because it's based also on your personal experience and how you judge a character and the person to fit the whole picture.
Correct. And you mentioned judge, right? The judgment, in the end, I always try to have as little judgment as possible, simply because, people judge me very often by the way that I look, by the way that I dress, by the way that I drive a, I don't know, Lamborghini, or that I watch a Rolex watch, and they judge me by this. This shouldn't happen. This shouldn't be happening, right?
But it is kind of it's also, I think, a bit misleading, because driving an expensive good car and having a good watch and being well dressed doesn't have to mean you're vain or you just want to show off. It also shows, okay, this guy made some success. That's a part of mentality, in my opinion, because people often, it's sad, but they think, oh, he's got a lot of money, probably did some shady stuff to afford a car like this, or a watch like this, or a house like this. But on the other hand, I think the way we should think and and analyze this, that somebody got to there, through working, through success, through hard work, through discipline, and if he managed to do that, and he has some background behind it, he has some knowledge, certificates, maybe that guy has something interesting to say to also help me succeed.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the ways to approach it and how to see it.
If everybody approached it this way, I think the world would be a better place. Except that in crypto, when compared to with the people trade, TradFi world, the Web2 world, anything outside of crypto, basically the percentage of those bad actors having all those 20 Rolexes and having all those 20, Ferraris and having all those, they come from scamming. They literally scammed people for money. They defrauded money, and this is the visual representation of that discount money. So,
but that is the reason why people get afraid of crypto. So
exactly,
and they don't trust, the let's say the holy one saying that I have the ultimate, recipe for success. Trust me, buy, my token or buy my services or my lessons. So it's difficult, right?
So
it's not easy to, tell everybody that, hey, the Birb Nest is different. We are different.
Well, action over words. We don't have to tell we are different simply because we have been in this space since 2017. We have outperformed 99% of competitors. There are maybe 2 or 3 names that I'm aware. When I was starting, there were hundreds and thousands of the same similar concepts, except that we went further, except that we went, like I said, mastered, the financial literacy part, but also opened up to the whole B2C chapter, B2B chapter, right? As in the institutions, the projects, the founders, where we help with, in the form of this Web3 accelerator, right? And where we help with early go-to market strategies, with VC funding, with market making, with exchange listings, with the marketing strategy around it, with the product launches, the product UX, UI, marketing, PR, all of that. To me, it's obvious because I've been in a space for many, many years. To me, it's obvious that any project shouldn't be launching their products in September because it's the only losing month on average for Bitcoin. It's minus 6.5% return. While if they wait instead for a month or two, you have the seasonal aspect that is like 28% in October, 42% average return in November. So when you wait a couple of weeks...
You guys should really note that one. That sounds really important.
So when you wait... All right. Imagine you're a founder who has just raised, finished raising $20-30 million for a product, for a company, right? They had finished and got locked up the best funds basically in a game. And they build the whole thing. They worked their ass off left and right and day and night, basically themselves and 20 other people involved to build an incredible game-changing product, only to launch it at the worst possible time with the worst scammers, with the worst communities who are going to stab them in the back, and take the money and run. And then it's not only an opportunity because this incredible project could dominate and could really become a game changer and, spread this Bitcoin crypto gospel outside of crypto, create this generally viral product, outside of crypto. So it's not only this that doesn't happen, it's also an actual loss of those 30 million. It's a loss of reputation. It's a PR damage because the media are going to catch it on the headlines, all the projects XYZ scammed for, the founders go to jail. This is what drives the headlines, right? And this is what, in the end of the day, when I speak and advise to celebrities, to high net worths, to funds, to, I'm an equity holder, Swiss hedge fund that is licensed, FINMA licensed. So having accumulated all those reliable people on the network that you want to help, basically, how much prejudice there is against crypto in the traditional world.
I know, and it's actually why it makes people scared to get in the first place, because when people who don't have enough experience with crypto in the world hear crypto, hear Bitcoin, scam, not real, money loss, money laundering, or even everything, the worst things come up to their mind first. Okay, but I want to ask you from a different angle, more human-wise angle. Let's say you're in crypto for a while. You made some money, made some good money. How to stay humble, how to not lose it, and how to not start making bad decisions because, you get cocky, you get very, confident that you already made money. And it's a dynamic market. What would be your advice for someone less experienced but already made some success, not to lose their way? What was your way to keep yourself in check, both from a daily perspective? Because, of course, if you earn money, you want to indulge yourself. You want to buy something nice, go for some nice vacation, spend some quality time, use it. That's why it's for it, and it's totally fine. But there's a thin line between, using what you have and losing it and getting out of control, and also start making bad business decisions for the future. So What would be your advice for people like that, to stay in line and in check?
So what you described, Dominik, is an embodiment of overconfidence. That's an emotional bias where we have succeeded several times in a row when you roll a dice, or when you flip a coin, right, heads or tails, and it lands tails 5 times in a row. You say, I'm a fucking genius, right? I'm the best coin flipper in history. But in reality, it's just luck. It shouldn't be happening, but it is happening. And at times, it is randomly possible for a series of uncorrelated events to give you profitable results. And it's very easy to confuse it and mistake the luck for skill, right? And if you mistake luck for skill, as in if you find, $100 banknote basically on the floor, is it because you were a genius, or is it because you were lucky?
Yeah, I was
right?
lucky. Yeah.
So if that's the case, if you find another $100 kind of like a banknote the next day, is it because of you're lucky, or you're the best cash finder in the history, right? So mistaking luck for skill leads to overconfidence, which means that you typically invest and believe in yourself the most. You're the most prejudiced, and the kind of like you think of yourself like as an invincible. I'm the strongest, I'm the best, I never make mistakes, I made a lot of money, like it's only gonna go up from here.
Yeah.
So this is where you invest the most money, at the very top. And if you invest the most money at the very top, you lose everything, right? And the only way to not fall for it is simply to avoid being overconfident. But for that, you have to probably have had made a lot of mistakes that trim down your confidence levels. So you cannot be overconfident per se, because you've lost money, you have made mistakes, you have failed terribly and miserably. So you know that the confidence is temporary and it misleads you and misguides you. All right. So the solution to that is learning on mistakes, ideally on someone else's mistakes, such as mine, because the overconfidence is I've made a lot of bad decisions when I was overconfident.
You can see that
so many times, right? And
you're not afraid to.
No, bro, easy. Like this is part of me, right? I mean, I've part of my journey, as in you can only reach higher and get those new all-time highs, basically. And this is sustainable as long as you are mentally all right.
Yeah, but this might be a tough one, but if we would, take ourselves 5-7 years back, and when you're too overconfident and someone like you would come and, tell you, mate, listen, you gotta chill out, you gotta think twice. Would you listen back then? Were you that kind of person that would listen for such an advice?
I would hear it, but there is a long journey, that you kind of like hear it and you think, okay, maybe it doesn't apply to me because the every person is different. But in the end, everybody is the same. Everybody falls for the same emotional mechanisms, and the overconfidence is the worst ally you can pick, right? Because it's gonna tell you, go for it, invest more. You're not gonna regret
that itch in the
brain. It's this voice that you say, no, I'm not gonna take profit. I'm not gonna take the money. It's only gonna go up from here, right? And I'm blessed simply because I'm here and I've made all those mistakes. Then because of discipline and me kind of like trying to understand and go for the CMT and get the self-awareness that helps me quantify everything that I do. I've gone so far because I wanted this. Right? Most of the people give up. When they lose, they say, oh, that shit is not for me. I'm done. I'm not gonna put more money. I'm not gonna read about it because I don't have time. I don't have the patience. What doesn't matter, and they step away. And that's the picture that they step away with. They think,
how to make one listen.
I'd say that first of all, use numbers.
Yourself listen, because you can't convince anyone about anything if they're not willing to nudge. Yeah, but how to make yourself listen and think twice. What's the deal? How to get inside your head with that, especially when you're at that overconfident moment in your life?
Good question. I'd say combination of two. So boost the rational and decrease the emotions, right? Do not even balance this. Just go for rational, which means rely on facts, numbers, raw data, evidence, something that can then be refuted, such as the indicators, such as the statistics, such as the numbers, such as the annualized returns over 145% of Bitcoin over the last 14 years, right? Go for this to know what to expect and have the quantitative kind of like systems and strategies based on discipline, basically, that are going to tell you whatever happens, whatever you feel, whatever your opinion is, whether you feel good or bad, what your mood is, what the weather is, doesn't matter. You buy every single time this happens, and you sell every single time that thing happens, regardless what you think. So following those rules and guidelines helps us go through the chaos that is going to be inevitable, because it's only more and more chaotic. The more people there are on the world, the more inventions we have that we cannot control. There's only much more chaos, and this chaos means that it's very difficult, because there's the volatility, the randomness. When you plan something, it may be easily disrupted, but having those rules, those simple guidelines, rules every single day, universal. You wake up 7 a.m. You go walk with a dog 9 a.m. Doesn't matter, right? Have this daily routine, schedules, disciplines. This is the only thing that you have that is fixed no matter what. And this outperforms everything else. So apply this in trading, and you're going to make better choices, right? So do not leave much space for emotion. Go for rational, go for evidence, go for raw numbers, figures, facts. And this is how we make money.
I think that's a huge piece of advice for anyone, not only in the crypto market, but in general.
It's universal. That's what I said.
Yeah. Okay, Adrian, I have some questions to you regarding the basis, because there are many people, as we spoke before, who are totally newbies. They're afraid, they don't understand. And could you help our viewers, help the potential community to understand some facts, and try to do it as simple as possible?
Let's do it, bro. It's gonna be difficult. Okay, straight.
So, what is crypto? For somebody who doesn't know, I don't know what is crypto. Tell me, what is crypto? What is blockchain? What is Bitcoin? How the hell does that work? That something that you can't really see, touch, that's physical, is worth money and you can earn. How does it work?
Same question can be asked to the money that you have in your bank account, right? It's only virtual, and it still has a buying power. Crypto, short for cryptocurrency, is a combination of two words: crypto and currency. Crypto comes from cryptographic, which means it's a coding basically behind it that makes it safe and secure, that makes it encrypted. And currency is a means of an exchange, basically, right? Monetary means of an exchange. So this is basically this. It's a cryptographic means of an exchange, right? So it's an encrypted money type of an asset that you can exchange, basically making bets, use it for payments, and for the investment purposes.
Created it, right? He was the inventor of crypto, or he was the inventor of Bitcoin?
Well, how do we know you were not Satoshi, for instance, right?
I can say yes or no. That's
the whole thing. No one knows who created the whole thing, and I heard a lot of theories, ranging from that it's a one person, that it's a Japanese person, that it's a group of people, that it's a CIA and FBI involved, to kind of like learn on how, before they introduce CBDCs on a larger scale, how it's gonna, like a pilot of CBDC. So I heard a lot of those stories. The best point is that I don't care. It doesn't matter, bro. I just make money on it.
So but how it works? How basically does it work? Because what is blockchain? How is blockchain involved? Because we hear a lot of blockchain.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, again, two words: block and chain, right? So it's a chain of blocks, and those blocks it's a chain of blocks of information, and this information regards the transactions, right? So for instance, I send you money, right? I send you whatever amount of cryptocurrency, ABC, can be Bitcoin. I send you whatever amount of Bitcoin. So the main difference is that it removes the intermediaries. When I send you money via bank transfer, like a wire, right? There is more. Why does it take 3 or 5 days at times for money to come through? Have you ever thought about it, right? It's because you have 20 different other intermediary banks that are turning over this money on their foreign markets on high frequency trades.
Yeah, because, for example, the same bank, it takes, immediately or in a few hours, and from bank to another bank or a different country, it can take up to days, and that's annoying.
Well, I don't work cash on me, right? But imagine I put you money here. It takes 1 second.
Yeah.
Right. So technically, there's no reason for why it should take so long for the bank to process the same transaction. And the reason is that those investment banks that are along the way, that are whole within the banking ecosystem, they make the transactions between themselves. They make money on interest generated from those trading of those assets very often, right? and they make money in fees. So in the end, it costs you a lot of money. It takes time. And quite often it happens that the bank in the middle tells you, I'm not going to send the money to you. I'm not going to get the money further simply because I don't like this for A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z reasons. And in the end, you learn that you cannot send money to your mom for birthday because whatever, right? Or it costs you a lot of money and they send it back because they say the bank is closed. Sorry. Right?
Or they tell you need to pay a special tax.
Or you need to pay a special tax, right? Whatever. So crypto is the solution to this, right? It came as a little bit of a paradigm. It came as an answer to broken financial system in 2008 on 31st of October, right? When the Lehman Brothers bank collapsed, basically. This is where what put down
financial crisis started.
This is GFC, basically, Great Financial. The Great Financial Recession, Jeffrey. So Bitcoin was the solution to broken financial system that overinflated the real estate mortgage market, basically, making the mortgages, unpayable, right? Because there was so much inflation, so little control and so much of a lack of control that it has inflated economy through the real estate and unprecedented giveaway of mortgages to whoever, you cannot pay the loan, doesn't matter, we get you money. Right? Because we have the money in the system, and they were giving away money to everybody to later find out that those people the debtors were not paying those debts off. And this is what put the banks to die. This is what put the entire financial system in the US economy to, basically make a collapse, which led to an actual great financial recession. So Bitcoin was a solution to this because it removes the broken financial system, right? And it removes it because there are not all those intermediaries. There's a third party that is not standing in the process, but is only executing this transaction for you.
So Bitcoin saved the economy, right?
Well, it can save the economy. It can save the economy, right? So if I send you money, basically, it's an internet network of computers that when plugged in, basically, they can process the transaction. And whoever has the fastest computer, the fastest kind of like,
so we're getting to the crypto miners themselves.
Yeah.
The mining machines based on powerful GPUs. And
exactly.
we see the huge shelves of computers and power-hungry machines. And
Exactly.
more you have, more can you generate the cryptocurrency itself being part of the system.
Yeah, generating means basically processing the transaction because the mining process is exactly what pushes through this money transaction from me to you.
Oh, okay, that's really amazing. That's a very simple and imageable way to show it. But okay, so that, let's say, explains more or less what is crypto and how it works. And when people say crypto, they think the next step is Bitcoin. They crypto, Bitcoin. But what about all the other coins? So because we have Ethereum, we have Fartcoin, we have Dodge, we have like tons of other coins. So is this all crypto, or how does it work? Can anyone do it? Can anyone create a coin? Well, how to know what is real, what is not real? How does it work? Tell us more about what is officially called altcoins, right?
Yeah, altcoins is alternative coins. Again, there are a lot of shortcuts and abbreviations. So alternative coins is anything outside of crypto, basically, outside of Bitcoin, basically. Right?
So Bitcoin is the mother and all father of.
It was the first.
It was the first, and the rest of it's altcoin because it's an alternative to Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's an alternative to Bitcoin, and then you have a lot of different those cryptocurrencies, basically those crypto assets that are divided in different sectors. There are crypto assets that are operating with AI, that are crypto assets that are operating with so-called real-world assets. There's that are called cryptocurrencies that operate with layer one solutions with the blockchain, the native blockchains such as Ethereum, right? There are L2s that are applications built within those blockchains and so on and so forth, right? And each and every single sector, even the meme coins lately, as of 2024, 2025, this was a frenzy. This was the amount of cryptocurrencies generated out of one button click, exceeded millions, basically, to an extent that it inflated and diluted the whole market cap of crypto. So as a result, you would have at the peak 3.5, 3.7 oscillating, total crypto market cap, as in how much money there is in crypto at all. And imagine that amount of money was focused mostly, let's say 80% of this was in like let's imagine first 100 cryptocurrencies. Then all of a sudden, all that money was distributed between million cryptocurrencies, right? There was a dilution of the capital. And as a result, because of the accessibility that everybody could, click on a one button and just launch their own cryptocurrency with that on the website, it was, double-edged sword. It was at the same time nailed to the coffin. Regardless, anything else outside of Bitcoin is an altcoin, right? However, it's not an official term per se, because then crypto assets can be divided into stablecoins, into tokens, into utility tokens, government tokens, and so on.
Stablecoins sounds like something you should think of in the first place, because is it actually the stable ones?
Well, it happens. Most of the time, they're supposed to be pegged and attached to the value of an actual fiat fiduciary currency, right?
So it's like a dollar is connected to gold resources. Right.
Well, it used to be until 1971.
Of course,
right?
but
imagine it has a back, right? As in it's backed by something else, right? And those stable coins, they are tokenized currencies. They're basically dollar put on the blockchain, right? This is USDT or USDC. It's a dollar put on the blockchain. It's a euro put on blockchain. It's a Turkish lira put on the blockchain, and so on.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the stable coins, right? And each and every single types of those legal nomenclature of the classification of those assets, be it, utility tokens, non-fungible tokens as in the NFTs or the governance tokens for management within the project, emitting those cryptocurrencies. Those are legal frameworks. Those are legal categorization. And at the end of the day, if we want to look up what it really means by legal classification, well, we may look into regulations, because MiCA, as in the markets and crypto assets, has come into full force, classifying and regulating all types of crypto assets.
Wow, that's a lot of information to dig in, but it's getting more and more understandable as much as we speak. And, while talking today and hearing everything that we heard, I still have some questions. I think we have more and more reasons to meet again and dive more deeply into specific sections. But with that said, could you advise our viewers, if they want to start the journey with crypto, of course, beyond joining the Birb Nest, to know how to do it and find more details there, how to get it, what to do? Because, there are crypto wallets, crypto sites, charts, everything. And how do I just Google buy crypto and click on a link that Google suggests me, or there are places that are more or less trustworthy? How does it work? How does one buy crypto or sell it?
Good question. So getting started, I always suggest learn the definitions. Learn about what you're gonna do. Right. So before buying Bitcoin, just Google a definition of Bitcoin. What is it? Right. And you should search for anything crypto related in the applications that you already know. For instance, if there is a person who's holding any sort of like an investment portfolio and invests in stocks, for instance, they should search for Bitcoin in the same application. I'm not using Robinhood simply, but I know a lot of American people use Robinhood for it, and they can buy Bitcoin on Robinhood. Right? You can buy Bitcoin on Revolut. You can buy cryptocurrencies on the applications that you use each and every single day, right? And
so also to buy like regular stock or money conversion, like currency conversion.
Yeah. So whatever,
and it's fine and it's safe. It doesn't like put you in a more difficult spot or some under loop of somebody or someone.
Well, safe is a I always put. On the safety, you always put a question mark, right? Because in the end of the day, your risk as much as you put money, as much money you put, basically, right? This is your risk. And we've seen collapses of the exchanges. We've seen collapses on the banks. We've seen collapses of the whole economy. So nothing is taken for granted. Nothing is certain. Every single financial decision that you put cash in a pocket, someone is going to come and rob you out of your money. If you put money in a backpack, someone is going to take your money from the backpack and run. If you put it on the bank is going to collapse. If you put it on crypto, you're going to lose it, right?
So is it like that if you buy crypto, for example, using a platform XYZ, whatever, Revolt, whatever can offer that, is it who is responsible for the safety of your money? The platform or crypto itself is safe? For example, if Revolt gets hacked, can you lose your cryptocurrency?
Sure.
So it's not like it's somewhere in a different cloud and Revolt or some other app operates it. The application or the company that you trusted with your cryptocurrency and your data is the one basically responsible, correct?
Well, yes and no, because
Okay.
at the end of it, their responsibility is a legal term, right? As in, there is a responsibility limit or specific situations in which you're responsible to whatever amount of founding capital you may have, for instance, right? So in the end of the day, it's a legal term, and by relying on third parties, banks, applications, whatever else, you give them your money for storing, right? So at the end of the day, there's this famous saying, first of all, not your keys, not your crypto. So by giving crypto and keeping it on a third party, on an exchange, on a platform, on something else, other than a so-called hard wallet.
Yeah, that was my next question. How to put your crypto? If, for example, I buy on a platform crypto and it's there, and I have, for example, I'm very rich. I have one whole Bitcoin. I'm amazing. And how can I put it to an external device? Because there are like some small pen drive looking devices. You can correct me. What's the correct name for that? Plug it in and somehow download the Bitcoin itself on it. How does that work?
Sort of. As in, you just insert it as in the USB typical, just like you would insert in the pen drive, just like you said, like a flash disk. And you have a software, you have an application on your computer, mobile, doesn't matter. And you have your password, as in so-called seed phrase, that is a combination of many random words that is only known to you, that you have to know, that if you lose, you cannot access it. So it's very important to keep it very safe for that chain of those words, basically for those random words.
So is that like your like a bank number, but your crypto account number, something like that?
Exactly. It's a passphrase that consists of 12 or 24 random words that only you know, right? Because it when you set up a wallet, when you create a new wallet, it tells you for one time, it tells you and asks you to write it down, this sequence of the words, and your job is to put it down on the paper. You can store it in safe, you can store it in whatever, knowing that this password lets you access your money, right? So it's like a bank account password, except that
it's only for your crypto.
Except that it's for crypto, and except that if you lose it, no one can help you. Okay. So that sucks, but
no customer service here.
No customer service at Bitcoin, but that's the price that you pay for financial freedom.
Yeah.
Right? You're only financially free if you have full control of your money. If you do not give your money to the bank that is going to collapse, right? If you do not give your money to politicians who are going to rob you.
You should buy a good safe.
So at the end of the day, do not put your money in, all your money in one basket, right? Or don't keep your eggs in one basket, as many paraphrases as you wish. But all in all, is diversification is important. Not only do not keep all your money in crypto, do not keep all your money in one currency, ABC, because Turkish people, had it very rough, that the Turkish lira overnight, started inflating, and the inflation is still like 50-60%. Yeah. And they keep on losing every year 50-60% on average, right? And they go for the alternatives, and the alternatives in Bitcoin that appreciates over time.
Okay, I see. So, guys, you could probably see now how deep the topic is and how many actually things we could cover and how many we didn't even touch. And if you would like to know more, join us more regularly here on our YouTube channel, on our X, and of course on thebirbnest.com. And if you want more advice of amazing, smart, and reliable people, join the Birb Nest. Become one with us, and we can talk frequently. You can talk with Adrian, you can talk with me, and a whole group of other amazing people. So come and check out
see you there,
us and our community. But before we say goodbye, I have some quick questions I would like you to answer. Totally random. Really? Like don't think too much. So, first crypto you ever bought?
Bitcoin
or Ethereum?
Bitcoin.
Cash or crypto?
Crypto.
What was your worst trade you ever made?
Let's name it data blocks. It was DTB 2017. It went to zero basically.
Can you tell us how much you lost?
Oh man, I think it was like low six figures. I think high five figures, low six figures, something like that.
Wow.
I don't remember the exact quote, but it was anywhere between like $50,000 and $100,000.
Jesus, man. And yet you're still here with us.
Oh man, I've made a lot of those. That's a lot of mistakes that I made like that.
Okay, so what is the one book or a series of books every aspiring or already, working crypto trader should read and know? Is that like a crypto Bible?
Oh man, so I was starting from John Murphy's Technical Analysis of Financial Markets. You have Steve Neeson for Japanese candlesticks, but all those materials are starters, and I would always aim direct to people at the CMT. So the CMT chart market technician curriculum that involves like free, well, they are thick books, like 1,000-page each, but they consist of 200 years of the best selected materials of anything that regards the topic of technical analysis. So it's the case studies from 200 years, basically, in one book. And each and every single one of them is the most reliable that you can find. So it's like this one is the actual Bible, so to speak, of the reliability in trading.
And when can we expect a book from Adrian Zduńczyk?
Oh man, I was planning to get one. It's easy. We can put up a couple of ebooks. That's one thing. We've made a couple of good reports and those types of reads before. I definitely want to use the next bear market. So most likely 2026. I want to use it for things like that.
You know what I would like to read? I would like to read the story of Adrian from the time he was still in school, learning about chemistry and his first trade, and more like something that Netflix could adapt later.
Oh, and we're gonna get there. Next year.
Okay, so just to sum up, one, max 2 sentences to describe the Birb Nest in your own words.
It's a safe place for traders who got hurt, who want to get better, who want to get self-awareness. And at the same time, it's a reliability safe haven for projects, for founders, for institutions, for a reliable network.
Okay. Adrian, I can only say thank you for today. It was a real blast talking with you. Thank you everyone for joining in. And one more time, guys, like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what other topics you would like us to discuss or deep dive more into in our future podcasts. And for every other crypto-related news and trading news, join the birbnest.com, join our X and our other social platforms so we can all stay in touch. And you can find us there. We're here for you. I'm there. Adrian's there. We're not behind closed bars, so you can find us in the Birb Nest. So, guys, thank you one more time for tuning in. Thank you, Adrian. Let's stay in touch. Don't be a stranger. Join the Birb Nest, and see you at the next time.
God bless you, and remember the best time is now.
Bye, legends.